What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in for another episode of The Unique Experience. I do want to apologize that I haven't been making videos as often as I would like to. Been really busy with a bunch of stuff. Kind of wanted to keep you guys updated as to what's been going on and the cars. So I think the last video that you guys saw, I had the 996 911 Targa Porsche, which was a great car and everything. But I ended up picking up another project car, which is what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about the ownership. I actually got rid of it already, or already let it go. So I figured I would make this video today to kind of talk about that car, what it was, what I did, what I had planned for it, and then, of course, what I replaced it with. So tune in. So I had the 2003 Porsche 911 Targa. It was a great car. I don't know if you guys remember from the last video, but it was a 996 911 Targa that had a turbo front end. It had an aero front lip, and my plans for that car was to put the aero side skirts on it, the aero rear spats, and a GT2 wing, just because I think it would kind of complete the entire look of the vehicle. So unfortunately, before I could do any of that, I came across something that I really like.
So John has traded in the Porsche and picked up his new car. I'm about to see what it is. It's probably does my fog up.
And I did eat earlier.
Right,
I mean, oh, it rode perfect. It was just a long-ass drive.
Yeah, time to sleep.
No, I'm going to start cleaning it up.
I know you gotta be sleeping. Holy shit.
Wow, did he tell you what happened this morning? I fucking...
Oh, your alarm clock?
Yeah, I was like waking up all night, and I'm like, alright, I'm finally going to get to go to sleep.
Yeah, this camera's just the only thing that sucks about AC and coming out to a hot. So it just sits like that for a while. Just sit there and wait for it to go away. I mean, the bumper's not bad. Just take off those little things.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the. I'm gonna have to pull it in, take that off, take the eyelids off, and then take off the sticker. Off the car.
What time did you wake up this morning?
I woke up at well, I didn't really sleep, so.
What?
I honestly just laid there with my I laid there with my eyes closed.
Jeez.
But I was just so excited just thinking about it and kind of the unknown, you know, because whenever you're about to get a new car, I mean, a lot can happen, you know, somebody may back out, you know, and I know that, you know, I wanted the car so bad that I didn't want to get too attached to it.
So how long did you drive to go get it?
It was 4 hours.
Yeah.
4 hours, and then each way. So, in total, 8 hours.
That's a full work shift for just driving.
Oh, dude, it's so worth it, though.
Oh, you ain't lying.
I owned it, super cool dude, and he owns a bunch of other Skylines and cool JDM stuff, so shout out to him.
Hell yeah. And he's happy with the Porsche?
Yeah, apparently he really likes it, his family likes it, his kids like it. No matter, at the end of the day, no matter what anyone says, it's his car, so if he likes it.
I mean, that's really what matters, man.
All that matters.
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah.
And he sent me this copper color that he said would look really good on it. And I was like, yep, I agree.
He's a copper.
Right there. Be like a copper.
Huh.
It was actually a personal dream car of mine. And a friend of mine who I met through the Skyline community actually owned it, and of course that kind of gives it away as to what the car was. It was actually a 1998 Nissan Skyline GTT, so it's an R34 Skyline. So the gentleman that I got it from had it for about 7 years, stateside titled and everything, and I mean, it was, you know, it was a dream car of mine. So how I came across the car is I was just on Facebook one day, and he posted a picture of it. The car was not for sale. He wasn't trying to get rid of it, but he just posted a picture of the car. And so I shot my shot, and I figured I'd just reach out to him. And I said, hey, look, I got this 911 Targa. Let me know if you'd be interested in that at all. So turns out he was a huge Porsche guy, and after a lot of discussion, a lot of photos and videos back and forth, I went up and picked up the vehicle. So to kind of give you details on it, it was a 1998 Nissan Skyline GTT. For those who aren't familiar with the GTT model, it is rear-wheel drive, manual. I had a manual, but you can get them in automatic. And it is turbo, so it had a single turbo as opposed to the GTR, which is all-wheel drive, 6-speed manual, and twin turbo. So the car, when I got it, the original color was lightning yellow, which was pretty cool. I'm not normally a yellow person, but after seeing the car, I thought it was definitely unique. I mean, it was an R34 after all, and though yellow wasn't my preference, it was, you know, it grew on me. So the color code was EV1 lightning yellow, and less than 2% of the R34s produced were made in lightning yellow. And GTR wise, I believe it's somewhere around 69 or 70, so even more rare and more uncommon. So when I got the car, it had some modifications already done to it. The previous owner was a huge Fast and the Furious fan, so he had actually painted the graphics from the Skyline seen in Too Fast, Too Furious that Paul Walker drives, the silver one with the blue graphics. But obviously, because the car was yellow, he ended up going with like it's a very unique color. I don't know. It was almost like a tan color, the stripes. I don't know. It kind of worked with the car. So he painted the stripes down the hood, had it along the side as well. It had a set of work VSXX wheels, which, you know, they're good wheels, but they were Plastidip purple. And he also changed the front bumper and put a GTR wing on it, or a GTR style wing. So the GTT actually had what was called Altia Aero on it. So when you buy a Nissan Skyline R34 in Japan, there's optional aero that you can get for the car. So sometimes people, including myself, mistake it for Nismo, but it's not Nismo. It's a company called Altia who makes the optional aero when you buy an R34 Skyline. So the car did still have the Altia Aero rear bumper, the Altia Aero side skirts, but it had an aftermarket front bumper that was customized, and as I mentioned, a GTR style wing. The previous owner also had added like eyelids on the vehicle, carbon fiber eyelids, some like kind of universal splitters to help protect underneath the car from scraping, you know, the actual underneath of the bumper. And then from a performance perspective, the car was pretty much stock. So actually, it did have a turbo timer on it, and it did have coilovers. I don't know the particular brand, but I do know the turbo timer was a Blitz turbo timer. So when I got the car from the previous owner, you know, I immediately kind of wanted to start working on it and making it my own. So though, you know, he had done his modifications, taste is subjective, you know, so there's nothing wrong with what he did, but he just added his touches to it. So I figured it's, you know, he had owned it for so long and it was known as his vehicle that I kind of wanted to make it my own and kind of, you know, add my touch to it. So as soon as I got it home, the first thing that I did was I started kind of pulling some stuff off. I removed the eyelids from the vehicle. I removed the universal splitters that were on the bottom. He also had some decals that meant some stuff to him, but just wasn't quite for me. I kind of wanted to go with kind of more of a cleaner look. One of the things that I would have liked to removed was the stripes. I mean, obviously I love the Fast and the Furious car. However, my preference is just one solid color. So unfortunately the stripes and everything were painted, so I wasn't able to kind of just peel it off. It's kind of something you have to sand down. So what I did was, after I removed everything, at that point I just kind of give it a really nice wash to kind of see the condition of the paint and everything. And you know, it is an older car, so the paint didn't quite match up you know, in certain panels. So one of the first things that I did was I actually removed the wheels, the Work VSX wheels. So as I mentioned, they were 18-inch VSXs, but the particular wheel specs on that car just didn't fit right on the R34. It just kind of sat kind of in instead of closer to the fender. So I ended up selling those, and then I picked up a set of N-key RPF 1s in SBC. I just figured it was kind of, I'm not normally a chrome person, but I thought that black, you know, I didn't want to quite go black, so I thought SBC was kind of perfect because it's kind of like a black chrome. So I put those on there. Fitment was pretty well. The next thing that I did is I kind of wanted to give it a little more noise, a little more performance. As I mentioned, it was pretty much bone stock. So the first thing that I did was I picked up an HKS muffler, high power muffler, and then I took it to my local exhaust shop, and I had them do pretty much a 3-inch piping from, you know, obviously the muffler to the cat, and that gave it a really nice exhaust tone. Another thing that I did to kind of open it up a little more or give it a really nice tone is I put an intake on it. I went with the Apexy intake, which was very easy install. And the same day, I actually received my blow-off valve. I initially ordered the HKS Super Sequential, but after talking to some R34 owners with the same motor, they had mentioned that it can cause the motor to stall. So I ended up just going with Turbo Smart dual port blow-off valve that recirculates. So didn't quite have the fluttering that I normally like to hear, but it's more of like a whooshing sound, but nonetheless it sounded great. The motor in that car, I forgot to mention, is the RB25 Neogen, which is different from the RB25. The RB25 Neo, I believe, has some GTR internals. It's actually a pretty solid motor and can handle more power than the RB25 can, you know, straight out from the factory. So, so I did those things, and then kind of the biggest thing for me was the cosmetics. Like, I like power, I like to have fun, but I'm more of like a cruiser, and aesthetics are important to me. So, sourcing parts for that car was challenging, just because there's not a ton of them in the States. So, trying to find parts was a challenge, and then it was also pretty pricey. So I managed to kind of piece together some really good quality parts. I picked up a OEM front bumper, OEM front lip, and an OEM rear bumper from a couple guys that own some R34s here in the States. So I picked those up, and then trying to find side skirts was really challenging. So I ended up finding a set of replica, just fiberglass GTR style side skirts with extensions. So I got those, and then I also picked up a pair of rear spats for the rear bumper, just so this way when you look at it from the side, everything flows together. The last piece that I ordered was a Cybon DS style carbon fiber hood, which essentially looks like the Nismo hood. It pretty much has like a vent in the center. However, that was on back order from Saibon for 8 to 12 weeks, and you know, I was kind of just waiting for it to come in. So trying to think if there's anything else I did to the vehicle. I did change the head unit. It had an old school Kenwood in it, which was very period correct. It was kind of one of the units that kind of flipped out, came up, and then went back. But unfortunately, it didn't have a lot of the features that I was looking for. And actually, it wasn't even a lot of features. I just wanted Bluetooth telephone and audio, but because of the car's age, you know, with that particular radio that it had, you had to buy an additional external Bluetooth unit if you wanted Bluetooth, or if you wanted nav, you had to buy the additional nav unit. So it was kind of antiquated at that time, so I figured I just got rid of it, and I just got a new Pioneer head unit that had basic functionality like Bluetooth audio, Bluetooth phone, and that was perfect. So I changed that, and then also I know that I did notice that the car, when I would hit the brakes, it kind of had like a little bit of a shake. So I do believe in preventative maintenance. So instead of just replacing the rear rotors, I ordered a whole new set of rotors and pads, and I did drilled and slotted. So I used to have an R32, as you guys know, and the thing that I loved about that car is there was a lot of interchangeable parts. So there's parts from the Z32 twin turbo that actually are compatible with the R32 and R33. However, with the R34, there's not a ton of interchangeable parts, and unfortunately, I didn't find out until after I ordered Z32 twin turbo brakes. The rears worked perfectly, however, the fronts were too small. I believe they were like 280 or 290 is what the Z32 twin turbo was, and the R34 required a 300 or 310 millimeter up front. So just kind of going back as far as like sourcing parts for the R34, it was really challenging because you know, nowhere in the U.S. really stocks those parts. You know, I reached out to several places, Terra Firma, and who else was it? There was a Concept Z. There was a couple places I reached out to, and unfortunately no one really stocked it, but they could get it. So after doing some research, there was a company called M-Tech out of the UK, and they offered what's called grooved and dimpled, which is essentially drilled and slotted. And oddly enough, it came super fast. Like, I've ordered stuff from California, and sometimes it takes a couple weeks to get here, but I mean, I ordered the rotors, and they were here in actually less than a week. So, you know, shout out to M-Tech and the guys over there. I mean, they helped me out and got the product out like super quick. It was actually cool too, because actually when I got them, it looked like the rotors were black, but it's actually a protective coating that they put on them, and then after some driving, a couple heat cycles, you notice that it'll all go away. So they were great brakes, and the car stopped amazing. Another thing that I changed on the vehicle, you know, while I was waiting for the hood, you know, there was kind of just a couple little things that I wanted to address. For example, the passenger headlight, worked completely fine. It had the OEM HIDs. However, the mounting tabs were broken. So I met another R34 owner that happened to have a spare headlight, and he was kind enough to send me the headlight first, and then what we did was worked out a deal where I gave him my headlight that worked completely fine. It just had broken tabs, plus I gave him a little cash on top, you know, just to kind of, you know, thank him for that. So headlights for that car, are, as you can imagine, aren't cheap. Usually a used set is somewhere around $1,000. So, you know, it's kind of, you know, but that's kind of the price you have to pay, just because of, you know, supply and demand and just, you know, availability. So I also changed out the taillights on that vehicle. I mean, it had the factory iconic taillights, which look great. However, a friend of mine who had a wide body R34 had an extra pair of LED taillights that looked awesome, and they were super bright, which is great because somebody was behind me when we were cruising and said that the lights looked really dim and they couldn't tell when I was on the brake. So, you know, I figured it would be a good move to just go ahead and get LEDs since it's brighter and kind of make the car look a little more modern. So, that I believe, is pretty much the R34. It was a great car. I mean, the driving experience, I mean, you know, the whole purpose of this channel, right, is to kind of share my experience of these unique cars that I get to own. And I mean, having an R34 is super cool. To people who really aren't car enthusiasts, or like, it just looks like a yellow Nissan. But for people who know what it is, you know, it was just really cool to see the type of reactions you can get out of people and how you can kind of make someone's day, you know, just with this car. So, you know, anywhere you take it, you know, it's just, you know, always turning heads and people love it. And it was a great car. I mean, I would 100% love to own another. However, you know, with me just being the way I am, I'm always looking for certain cars because I know which ones I want to own. And, you know, what I ended up finding one that I really liked, and I got it. So, you know, the R34 was a dream car. It was short-lived, but I did get to own it. I did get to experience it, and it was an amazing experience. The new owner, I actually gave him all of my parts. So, you know, I'm sure that when he is ready, he will start sharing videos and stuff of him continuing the build on that car. And, you know, I think that it's going to be super exciting for me to be able to kind of follow that. But with that being said, so the R34 is gone. However, I did pick up something, and it is a dream car of mine. It is behind me right now. So if you guys want, you can take a guess, leave your comments down below on what you think it is. But otherwise, just stay tuned for the next episode, and I'll walk you through what the car is and what's done to it and kind of what the plans are for it. So until then, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next episode.